Hey everyone, this is TeMika Grooms. Thank you so much for joining me on the live stream today. My name is TeMika Grooms. I'm on Behance and also on Instagram Live right now. So thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to Adobe Fresco and Chill. I'm going to be using Adobe Fresco here today on my screen, so you should be able to see that. And I'm just going to be sketching and playing around with the software, and hopefully if you draw or if you just want to watch, you can just join in. And so thank you so much for joining the stream today. If you're on Instagram Live, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if you're on Behance, welcome again. And so thank you so much for joining me today. All right, so let me just go ahead and get started. I got my handy dandy drawing tool here, and I'm working in Adobe Fresco, just chilling on a Saturday night. And hopefully you are also. I'm sipping on a little bit of tea, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. If you are joining me for the first time today, you probably are joining me for the first time today because I am just starting to get in the habit of live streaming on Behance. So if you're an artist and you haven't heard of Behance, it's definitely a place that you might want to check out. There's a great community of artists there. I've been on Behance for a few years now, but just now starting to get a little more active on the platform. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you'll go check out Behance as well. All right, so I am working on a sketch today. And I just realized something. I'm working on a sketch today, and it's actually a sketch of my daughter. And she was just an easy, willing participant. My oldest daughter, Jordan. If you want to check out her work, she's also an artist, and she is on Instagram at Parker the Brand, and it's spelled P-A-R-K-R the Brand. On Instagram, I'm sorry, not .com, but she's on Instagram, and she's a fabulous crochet artist, and that's my little plug for my little one. So she's a big one now. But anyway, I forgot to do something very important. So if you can just bear with me for a hot second, let me get my life together, because I forgot to do something really quick, and hopefully I may not get to do it. So anyway, all right, so yeah, let's go ahead and just draw. All right, so again, my name is TeMika Grooms, and I'm about to get to it. I hope wherever you are in the world, you're feeling well. I hope everything is going well for you. I can't believe that we're already halfway through February, which is insane. And hopefully you can hear me okay. If you can't hear me, please let me know. And I'm sorry, y'all, I'm still fairly new to live streaming, so there's some things that I should have checked out. That's why I was also running behind today. So hopefully I'll be able to get this thing going properly. All right, so it looks like we're good to go. Looks like sound is good to go. And I'm just working on a portrait today. So if you aren't familiar with my work, typically what you'll see me post is a lot of things related to children's book illustration. But every now and then, I'll pop up out of that genre, and I'll start doing a little something in terms of portraiture, because I really do enjoy creating portraits. And so decided to do that today. Okay, good. Okay, thank you, Odari. I always need somebody to check my sound, I swear. All right, so anyway, let me keep at it. Hi, Mika-san. All right, so yeah, so anyway, I'm just drawing today and sketching live. Trying to get my whole digital life together. And my daughter was nice enough to pose for me right before this session. And so I'm doing a very rough sketch. It's super rough. And my sketches usually look really crazy in the beginning phases, and then they start to find their way. I'm usually pretty surprised when things turn out the way I saw them in my brain. So what I started out with actually on her sketch was, I started with a sketch and it was going in a funny direction that I didn't want it to go into, so I started doing shadows instead so that I could actually see the shadows. And so I'm sitting in my studio, and I got all these bright lights, and so I was able to cast some really good shadows on her face. Or at least some shadows where I could see some of the different features. So I actually, when I started drawing, I started out in more traditional media. I love to draw. I love pencils and paper. I love sketching and gesture drawing. I really love gesture drawing. I don't know what it is. I guess gesture is almost like a way to animate for me, things that don't have movement. And so when I'm doing 2D drawings, I love to do gesture drawings so I can capture some of that movement. Y'all don't worry, this is gonna turn out just fine. It always starts off weird. So anyway, I started off saying that because my background is in traditional media, and I'm slowly but surely moving more so into digital media. And I really appreciate the fact that it lets me undo. Undo is like the best thing in the whole wide world. Anyway, so. But I still tend to use my digital media very much like traditional. So, and maybe eventually sometimes I go more graphic. But it just depends on what I'm trying to say through the art. All right, so right now her mouth is doing something weird, but I will find my way. Got all these different brushes these brushes I could be taking advantage of. So right now I'm drawing this from memory because I'm on Facebook Live. Hello everybody on Facebook Live. Um, and so my phone is no longer available, but luckily I had a good sketch to start off from. And since I birthed her, I kind of know what she looks like a little bit some days. It changes from day to day. So, you know. So I know what she looks like enough to kind of draw from memory and come up with her face so that I can at least get some of the likeness. May not be exactly the way she looks, but it will hopefully have her likeness. So if you're an artist out there, I'm kind of curious, like how you're managing during this time that we find ourselves in. Managing in terms of your creativity, you know, your use of materials. Are you choosing different things to use now based on where we are in history? I'm kind of curious about the impact that what we find ourselves in is having on your work. Regardless of wherever you are in your work, I hope that you're creating. I think that's really the most important thing, because man, the world needs it. The world definitely needs it, and it needs what we do. It needs the stories that we tell, the way that we see it. You know, I think artists have the benefit of vision, and so sometimes we can imagine and create a world that doesn't exist yet, and then come back out and show it to everybody else. So I hope that you are finding ways to be inspired in your work. The world needs it, that's for sure. Alright, so I don't know how much sketching versus coloring I'm going to do today. I really just wanted to show up for y'all and do this Fresco and Chill. It's going to be a new series I'm starting on Saturday nights on Behance, and so if you want to check me out on Behance, it might, if you're on hey everybody, if you're on Instagram Live, it may be a little bit easier to view on Behance. So, but your choice. So right now I'm just kind of going back in and smoothing out some of those crazy looking lines that I had in the beginning. She has very full cheeks. Right now I gotta bring one of them down just a tad bit because it's a little too full on that. It's a little too full on that left side, so we got to bring that down just a little. She used to have gerbil cheeks when she was little, and now they're starting to reshape as she matures into a young woman. That's what happens. It's funny, I remember when I was younger, in my 20s or whatever, and I was noticing my own face changing, like my actual facial structure changing, and and just the shape of my face. And I guess I didn't realize, you know, where I was in life at the time, but who does? I mean, you just living, especially when you're younger. You may notice things, but you don't overanalyze it. But part of my job as an artist is to notice, pay attention to things that I see around me, and that's what I do. So pay attention. I kind of like that. Yeah, let's bring that down through there. I like to use expressive lines too, to kind of communicate things. And so since I'm talking about her being at a certain age, maybe I'll bring that into the portrait as well. The beautiful thing about doing portraits is you really get a chance to look into a person. The whole idea of a picture is worth a thousand words really is something, because when you look at someone's portrait, or if you are drawing them, regardless of whatever level of drawing you're at, to look at someone in the details of their face, their bodies, the way their bodies move, it says something about them internally. It says something about their emotions and the lives that they live. So the idea of a picture is worth 1,000 words really is probably worth 1,000,000 words. And so there's so much information you can get from a person just by looking at their bodies, their faces, their bodies, and their expressions. So I'm just an observer. And so I'm observing my oldest child today. Alrighty. So I used to do portraits of my self-portraits of myself every year for a while. I haven't done one in a while. Actually, that's not true. I did do one not too long ago. But anyway, I used to do them every year just to kind of mark where I was in my life and kind of observe my own self. And I think life got busy at some point and I stopped doing it, but probably a habit I need to pick back up again. Let me move on to the hair. I always end up talking about, there's this moment, usually about 20 minutes, it's probably out, yeah, it's the 20-minute mark. Right around 20 minutes, I get quiet. Every time I start drawing, it's almost like I go into a whole meditative state, which is kind of weird when you're on camera. But, yeah, so I just reach that point where I start dropping into the image, but it's very much like meditation. Hey D78. Thank y'all for joining me on Behance. If you're on Behance, I appreciate you checking me out. This is I think the second time I've done Fresco and Chill, I think. I've been practicing going live for the past few weeks, and it has been quite a learning experience. It is definitely not something you get innately. It takes a little practice and some know-how, but I'm glad I had a little help along the way. Alright, it's a little too much shadow right there. So I want it, but I don't want it. So let's back up out of that just a little bit. So if you happen to be on Instagram, I was telling folks earlier that my daughter, she's a crochet artist, and it's funny. I have so many artists in my family. It's actually ridiculous. I don't know what was going on in my family, but it's so many of us have artistic talents. Whether it's a lot of us have a drawing skill, so we're like we're able to observe and render things that we see, and then there's the interpretation and the whole creative side that also comes along with that. But we have artists in my family, musicians, a chef. I am by no means a chef, but I have a cousin who is, like, officially, for real. But yeah, so there's a whole lot of talent and skill, and a lot of it innately that comes natural to them as well. So my uncle actually was very prolific painter. The unfortunate thing, I think, is that he lived in a small town and really didn't quite find his way of using his art and putting it out into the world. It's a tough road to go, but it's not impossible. It definitely can be done. So he was definitely a wonderful example of me, to me, in my painting skills. And even though I'm doing digital work, some of the things that he taught me actually are showing through in terms of anatomy and a more painterly style. And and I forgot to say, my mom was a seamstress. So yeah. So anyway, lots of people in my family with skills. I got a cousin who's a tattoo artist here in Atlanta. Yeah. So anyway, I could go on and on, but they know who they are and they know what they can do. Alright, so I think I'm done messing with this chin. Her mouth is wider than it needs to be, so I need to cut that back just a tiny bit. one of the things I really like about Adobe Fresco is I can just get in here and start drawing. Photoshop is great, but sometimes I just want to draw, and Fresco lets me just pick up my stylus and start moving. So I really do enjoy it for that reason. But I've actually completed full illustrations in Adobe Fresco. So it, you know, a lot of times I'll finish them off in Photoshop, but Fresco definitely gives me some versatility so that I can work quickly, get in there and get it done. So all right, so let's start putting some lines, some expressive lines through here. Now that I have the general shape of her face. Do some spiral work on her skin if I wanted to add some texture. Maybe not, we'll see. All right, let's move back to the hair. Now I'm debating on if I'm gonna do color. I think I might. I think I'm almost, I got a little bit more to do on this sketch to get it right. It's not there yet. It definitely isn't there yet. I definitely have some things that need to be fixed. I'm trying to see, is it close enough that I can move on? looks like I'm going graphic. I don't know why, but we'll see if that's actually what I want to do. I don't know, I'm feeling some stronger lines are coming through for some reason. Could be her personality. This child has a strong personality, so maybe these lines are dictating that. But yeah, I'm feeling like something needs to be more graphic through here. So let's just play with that. Let's play with that. Let's see what that looks like. So portraiture really is more, it's not just looking and recreating, it's expressing too. And so I feel like something else is getting ready to emerge out of this that I didn't expect. And if it doesn't look right, guess what? I don't care, because I can undo. I can either undo or I can delete it. There's no paper wasted. There's no nothing lost. Not even time is lost, because it gave me a chance to look and observe, so, and to see. Nothing's lost in the creative process. So when I used to, well, it's been a little while since I've taught a class, but when I do teach, one of the things I always tell people is don't judge your babies before they're born. It's like a whole process, that creative process that you have to go through, and you can't shorten the journey. You can't you have to let it evolve, I guess is what I'm saying. And that takes patience and trust and showing up and waiting and tossing what doesn't work, because sometimes things just don't work. And so this may or may not work, I don't know. But that's the whole point of listening to. I think that's when I hit that 20-minute mark and I start to go quiet. I think there's a listening that's occurring that I don't necessarily have any control over. It just occurs. Yeah, I don't know what this is doing yet. A different brush will give me the effect I'm looking for. Shucks. What brush am I using? Hey, hey Natalie. Tell Jolie I said hey too. tell tell her I'm drawing my daughter, my oldest daughter. I hope she's drawing too. I tell her I need to see some new work from her soon. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I don't know what this is gonna be yet. It started out as something more sketchy and now it's going graphic. I have no idea why. But since it's Fresco and chill, I'm just gonna chill and let it emerge. I'm gonna let it emerge and show me what it wants to be. Hey, TeMika. Y'all, I do want to say one thing about this whole thing that I keep avoiding saying the thing, but this whole thing that we find ourselves in this time and space. I was like really busy before all this started, and excuse me, busy to the point of exhaustion sometimes, I think would be safe